Welcome back to Mama 4. This is Kara, Pretoria, and Carly. And we're coming to y'all with story time. Y'all wanted to know which one of my kids drowned. Most of y'all thought it was Xavier. Then y'all thought it was Marmar. Then y'all thought maybe it was King. And then y'all thought Carly. And the least amount thought Carlton. And I thank everybody for voting. Alright, so Carly, which one of my kids almost drowned?
Me.
Carly almost drowned. Carly almost, while I tell the story, they're going to do my makeup. So, Carly almost drowned about a year and a half ago when we was on vacation in Mississippi. That vlog, for anybody that remember it. She almost drowned at the hotel. We was in the swimming pool. We ended every night in the swimming pool. And I gave Carly and Carlton little floaties. The water went from about being 3 feet to about 5 feet or something like that. And I gave Carly and Carlton these little floaty things, and then me, Mama, and Zay was just floating. Well, remember we was playing that yes or no game a lot. So we was playing yes or no, and I got caught up into yes or no, and I was too busy. I think I was trying to make Zay get out by saying yes or no, and I wasn't paying the twins no attention. Which they were, Carly getting her hair washed. I pre-poo. She got conditioner and I just gotta wash it. So Carly and Carlton, they was going around the whole pool. They got their floaties on, no big deal. My kids been introduced to water since they was younger. And so I was too busy trying to make Zay say yes or no. And by this time, we down at the deep end. And I had stopped paying attention to my kids. So all of a sudden, Carlton says, "Mom, look at Carly." And he said it so clear. Y'all hear on these videos, these kids can be saying "mom, mom, mom" a dozen times, so I actually pay attention to answer. Because a lot of times they'll never want nothing. Okay. Anyway, so when Carlton said, "Mom, look at Carly," I looked, and Carly was under the water, y'all. And Carlton was trying to grab her. He had the balloon on. The thing was, while I was sitting there playing with Zay, Zay had Carly floaty the whole time. He had took her floaty, and she called herself swimming down there to get her floaty. I guess she was swimming with Carlton, and she let go. And I just looked over, and my daughter was under the water. And the first thing I did, I had to like leap over to give a boost to grab her, and I grabbed up out of the water like that. The water, we was down there at the 5 feet. I'm 5'9", so I can find. My phone was ringing, so I had to start over. Anyway, so I grabbed her out the water, but I caught a cramp in my feet at the same time. So I'm holding her like this, and I got a cramp, and Mama grabbed her, and he got out the water, and I climbed out the water, and I held her. And she just started crying. She didn't have she wasn't coughing up water. I didn't have to do CPR or anything like that. She just started crying, so she was holding her breath. She, I guess, couldn't have been under that long. Maybe she had just went under when Carlton called me. I don't know. That's mascara. This is what goes all over my face. I actually gave y'all way too much of my stuff.
No, I didn't.
But this almost a year over, so I'm gonna have to you can use this big brush.
I use this, Mom.
Okay. She wasn't coughing. She just cried, and I just held her, and then she stopped crying. I didn't call 911. We didn't have to go to the hospital or anything like that. And I watched her closely that night as we slept, because I don't know if y'all know what like dry water drowning. She could have had water and stuff in her lungs and stuff, and did present a problem at the time, but she could have developed a problem over the night. So all night long, I just kept waking up looking at her and monitoring her, stuff like that. And she ended up fine. I never even went to the hospital, doctor, or anything. Never even mentioned it to the hospital or doctor. Now, would I recommend y'all to withhold that information? No. I recommend, if that was to happen, even if your child feel fine, call 911, get your child to the hospital, get them checked out, let them run tests. They can see stuff that can't be seen, so things can be prevented. In the meantime, watch your kids closely in the pool, especially the little ones. Just watch all your kids in the pool.
Now can I put this in? You.
Yep, no CPR. There's a lot of places that do CPR classes free, and to just get a CPR certificate or training, it doesn't cost much, about $25 to $50, depending on where y'all at and where y'all go. But it's well worth it. You can use CPR on anybody from your kids to your parents to sister, brothers, aunt, uncles. I have once done the Heimlich maneuver on Marmar. I did the Heimlich maneuver on Marmar probably about 3 months ago. He was choking off a phlegm, but I didn't know what he was choking off of. He went from brushing his teeth to, and he wasn't talking. I didn't know if maybe somebody had peanuts on his toothbrush and he was having an allergic reaction. Was he choking on something? I didn't know what, and he wouldn't open his mouth and speak. I just said, "Are you choking?" He said, and I just got behind him, started doing Heimlich maneuver. Nothing came up, but eventually he started talking, so I knew he was moving air. He was fine. What was he actually choking off of? I think it was just phlegm so thick in his throat that's what he was choking off of.
No, you can put this
Yeah.
on now.
So that's the time that
She doing
my
it
daughter
right
almost drowned. Carly, what did you think about the time when you was drowning?
I was trying to yell under the water, but I couldn't.
And why did you go under the water?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
Because they took my phone.
Oh, but you know how to swim, don't you?
No, I don't remember.
When my kids been in the water since they was a baby, so they're not scared of the water. But what's one of the things I always try to, when we go to the pool and y'all ask me how to swim, what's the first thing I normally try to get y'all to do?
Teach us?
When I try to teach y'all.
already know
On
how to
our
swim.
back.
Yep, on the back.
Mine already know how to swim on my back. And I know how to swim.
The reason why I teach my kids to swim on my back, now, I didn't take no classes in this, so, I mean, you better off taking another class, but this is what I do for my kids. I teach my kids to swim on the back because that was the way I taught. I grew up going to camp and canoeing trips, and we would have to tread deep water, like in a sea. No telling how deep the bottom is. Can't see the bottom. And we was told to tread the water nonstop for 10 minutes. We can't get out, can't have a life jacket or anything. If I don't tread that water, I can't go on this canoe trip. And I didn't like the seaweeds on my feet. It could get tiresome and stuff treading that water. Sometimes it be 10 minutes, sometimes 20 minutes. And it's been as long as 30 minutes they make us swim in its water. They don't care whether you keep swimming or not, but they want to see you stay on top of that water for 30 minutes because you never know what might happen. Once I was on a canoe trip and I got clotheslined out of a tree. It was like a tree that went up out the water and down, so like this much. It sucked our canoe, and when the canoe is you and your partner, it sucked our canoe and knocked us out, and our canoe went one way and the oars went another way. We swam to our canoe. We was on a platted river swimming to Lake Michigan, which the water didn't get that deep, but you never know how deep the water gets. So before they take kids out, they want to make sure kids can tread water at least for 30 minutes or so. Anyway, the way I would get past treading that water, they would say just lay on your back if you get tired of swimming. So I would lay on my back. It requires less energy. You can literally turn the light on, or just move the light a little bit. My light just went off, and I got company coming, say Granny coming. But you can lay, if you float on your back in the water, or just turn over on your back, put your head up towards the sky, your head will automatically stay above water. Your body might sink, but your head stay above water. You got lungs in your chest, so your chest is going to stay. You can literally do that and stay above the water. So that's one of the reasons why I teach my kids to float on their back. So even though she didn't have a floaty, she couldn't reach the bottom, she could have floated. But I believe she got scared and panicked, and that's why she went under. But the one thing she did do is she held her breath when she went under, which is another thing. That's normally the first thing I teach my kids, is to get used to going underwater holding their breath. If y'all sing, oh yeah, open that up a little bit, that put a little light. When y'all sing, I was with Lakiva, and remember the twins were counting to 3 and see who can hold their breath under the water the longest. That's a game that we play a lot, and that's just teaching them to hold their breath under the water. So that's the end of that story time, and check the community tab and I can come up with another story time for y'all.
Lulu, skip to my Lou. Lulu, skip to my Lou. Lulu, skip to my Lou. Skip to my Lou, my darling. Flies in the buttermilk shoe, fly shoe. Flies in the buttermilk shoe, fly shoe. Flies in the buttermilk shoe, fly shoe. Skip to my Lou, my darling. Lulu, skip to my Lou. Lulu, skip to my Lou. Lulu, skip to my Lou. Skip to my Lou, my darling. Cats in the cream jar, ooh ooh ooh. Cats in the cream jar, ooh ooh ooh. Cats in the cream jar.
So they done, and they're gonna finish up with this dewy setting spray. I done had this for like so long it might be expired. So I'm gonna give this to Carly to play with. Okay.
Cows in the pasture, moo moo moo. Cows in the pasture, moo moo moo. Cows in the pasture, moo.
So what do y'all think about my makeup artist? Do y'all think they did a good job? Thumbs up if they did a good job.
Down,
Those down there, Tori.